Hope is one of the most misunderstood forces in attachment dynamics. We're taught that hope is healthy, positive, and resilient. That hope means love, loyalty, and emotional strength. But in attachment wounds, hope is often not a sign of love. It's a survival strategy. Many people aren't bonded to the person in front of them. They're bonded to hope. Hope that things will change. Hope that the beginning will return. Hope that the other person will finally choose them, heal, or see their worth. And that hope is what keeps them stuck. Attachment loops don't persist because someone doesn't know better. They persist because the nervous system is waiting for relief. And hope keeps the nervous system engaged without ever delivering safety. To understand why hope is so powerful, we need to understand what attachment actually bonds to. Attachment is not logical. It doesn't bond to consistency. It bonds to emotional intensity and unpredictability. When love was inconsistent early in life, sometimes warm, sometimes withdrawn, the nervous system learned to stay alert. It learned that connection was possible, but never guaranteed. And in those environments, hope became necessary. Hope meant survival. Hope meant staying emotionally engaged even when love disappeared. Hope meant not giving up on connection. Hope meant waiting. Over time, the nervous system learned to associate love with anticipation rather than presence. So, as an adult, when you meet someone who is inconsistent, emotionally unavailable, or hot and cold, it feels familiar. Your system recognizes the pattern immediately, not because it's healthy, but because it's known. And hope fills the gaps. Hope tells you they care, they just don't know how to show it. They're scared, not disinterested. If I'm patient enough, loving enough, understanding enough, it will change. Hope becomes the glue. But here's the problem. Hope is future-based attachment. It keeps you bonded to what might be, not what is. Instead of responding to reality, you respond to potential. And potential is intoxicating. Potential allows you to stay emotionally invested without receiving emotional nourishment. It allows the relationship to continue without actually functioning. It gives just enough meaning to justify staying, but never enough stability to feel safe. This is how attachment loops form. You experience closeness, then distance, then confusion, then hope. The nervous system waits for the next moment of relief. That relief might be a text, an apology, a moment of vulnerability, a promise of change. And when it comes, the body floods with dopamine and relief, not because the relationship is safe, but because the pain briefly stopped. This is intermittent reinforcement. And intermittent reinforcement is one of the strongest bonds the nervous system can form. You're not addicted to the person. You're addicted to the relief. Hope keeps you coming back for that relief. And the longer this cycle continues, the more detached you become from your own needs. You stop asking, "Is this healthy?" and start asking, "What if this time is different?" Hope becomes a way to avoid grief. Because letting go doesn't just mean losing the person. It means grieving the future you imagined, the version of them you believed in, the story you were living toward. Hope delays grief, but it also delays healing. Many people say, "I know this relationship hurts me, but I can't let go." What they're really saying is, "I can't tolerate the grief of accepting that this will never become what I hoped it would be." So hope becomes emotional anesthesia. But hope without action, without change, without accountability, is not love. It's self-abandonment, disguised as optimism. Another reason hope keeps people stuck is because it protects identity. If you let go, you have to face painful questions. Why did I stay so long? Why did I ignore the signs? Why did I invest so much? Hope allows you to believe the suffering had a purpose, that it will eventually be rewarded. But not all pain is purposeful. Some pain is just information, and reality is always louder than hope, if you're willing to listen. Reality is what someone consistently shows you. Reality is how they respond to your needs. Reality is whether they grow, repair, and take responsibility. Hope asks you to override reality. Healing asks you to integrate it. This is why hope is especially powerful for people with abandonment wounds. When you fear abandonment, letting go feels like danger. Hope keeps the attachment alive without requiring safety. It allows you to stay connected without risking the finality of loss. But staying attached to hope is still a loss. It's just slower. You lose time. You lose self-trust. You lose clarity. And slowly, you lose yourself. Hope also keeps you stuck because it gives you a sense of control. If you believe change is possible, then your actions still matter. You can try harder, explain better, love deeper. Letting go means accepting that you cannot control the outcome, that the other person may never choose differently. And that powerlessness is terrifying. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. If someone wanted to change, you wouldn't need hope. You'd see movement. Hope is often a substitute for evidence. When change is real, it's observable. It's consistent. It doesn't require you to wait in emotional suspension. Another layer of hope is trauma bonding. When connection and pain are intertwined, hope keeps the bond alive. The relationship becomes the source of both the wound and the imagined cure. You believe the same person who hurts you will eventually heal you. That belief is not love. It's conditioning, and it keeps you locked in a loop where leaving feels harder than staying, even when staying is painful. Breaking an attachment loop requires something radical, choosing reality over hope. This doesn't mean becoming pessimistic or closed. It means grounding yourself in what is, not what could be. It means asking, how do I actually feel in this relationship most of the time? Do my needs get met consistently? Do I feel safe, seen, and chosen? Not occasionally. Not someday. Now. When you stop feeding hope, the nervous system initially panics, because hope was regulating you. It was giving you a reason to endure. So when hope collapses, grief rises. This is why healing often feels worse before it feels better, because you're finally allowing yourself to feel the loss you've been postponing. But grief is not the enemy. Grief is the doorway out of the loop. On the other side of grief is self-trust, clarity, and a new form of attachment. One based on stability instead of suspense. When your nervous system learns that love can be steady, present, and reciprocal, hope becomes unnecessary. You no longer wait. You no longer chase. You no longer interpret breadcrumbs as promises. You respond to what is. And from that place, attachment becomes something that supports your life, not something that consumes it. Hope doesn't make you weak, but misplaced hope keeps you stuck. Healing is not about giving up on love. It's about giving up on waiting for someone to become who they're not choosing to be. And when you finally release hope that is tied to pain, you make space for something far more regulating than anticipation. You make space for peace.